There's a specific moment in every relationship where a woman decides whether you're just another guy she's dating or the one she can't stop thinking about. And here's what most men get completely wrong. They think it's about grand gestures, expensive gifts, or looking like a movie star. It's not. There's one psychological trigger that, when you understand it, changes everything. And I'm going to show you exactly what it is and how to use it ethically. Look, I'm not here to give you manipulation tactics or toxic relationship advice. What I'm about to share is based on actual psychology and years of studying human connection. This isn't about making someone obsessed in an unhealthy way. It's about creating genuine attraction and emotional investment that makes a woman want to choose you every single day. Most dating advice tells you to play games, act unavailable, or fake confidence. That stuff might work for a week, maybe a month, but we're talking about creating something that lasts, something real. So if you're ready to understand what actually makes a woman emotionally invested in you for the long term, keep watching, because this might completely change how you approach relationships. The mistake. Almost every guy makes. Before I tell you what to do, let me tell you what not to do, because this is where most guys sabotage themselves without even realizing it. When a man really likes a woman, his instinct is to do everything for her. He wants to solve all her problems, shower her with attention, always be available, and basically prove his worth through constant action. He thinks, if I just show her how much I care, she'll fall for me. And here's the brutal truth. This actually pushes her away. Not because she doesn't appreciate kindness, not because she doesn't want someone who cares, but because it triggers something in her brain that says, this person needs me more than I need them. And the moment that imbalance happens, attraction starts to die. I've seen this pattern destroy countless relationships. The guy does everything right on paper. He's attentive, responsive, generous, complimentary, and she slowly loses interest. He's confused because he's doing what he thinks she wants, but he's missing the fundamental principle of lasting attraction. The one thing that changes everything. So what's the secret? What's the one thing that makes her obsess over you? It's this. Make her feel like she's earned your attention and admiration, not that she simply received it. Let me explain what this really means, because it's subtle, but incredibly powerful. When you give someone something freely without them having to work for it, there's no investment. When someone has to earn something, when they have to show up and contribute to get your time and energy, suddenly they're invested. They're thinking about you. They're trying to understand you. They're putting effort into the connection. This isn't about playing hard to get or being cold. It's about having standards and boundaries that make her realize you're someone worth pursuing, not just someone grateful for her presence. Think about anything valuable in your life. Did it mean more when someone just handed it to you, or when you worked for it? When you had to show up every day, put in effort, overcome challenges. The things we work for are the things we value most. Relationships work the same way. How this actually works in real life. Let me give you concrete examples, because this is where theory meets practice. Imagine you meet someone you're interested in. Here's what most guys do. They immediately start texting her constantly. They're always available when she reaches out. They agree with everything she says, and they rearrange their entire schedule to accommodate her. Here's what actually creates attraction. You have your own life, your own goals, your own social circle. When she reaches out, you respond, but not instantly every time. You're genuinely busy doing things you care about. When you make plans with her, you keep them, but you don't cancel your gym session or your time with friends just because she suddenly became available. You show interest in her, but you also challenge her ideas respectfully when you disagree. See the difference? In the first scenario, she's the prize and you're competing for her. In the second scenario, you're both bringing something valuable to the table. The psychology behind this. There's actual science here, and understanding it will help you apply this principle without being manipulative. It's called the principle of investment in psychology. When we invest time, energy, or effort into something, we become psychologically attached to it. It's why people stay in bad jobs longer than they should. They've invested so much already. It's why a car you restored yourself means more than one you bought fully finished. In relationships, when a woman invests in getting to know you, in earning your respect and attention, in proving herself worthy of your time, her brain creates a stronger attachment. She starts thinking about you more. She wonders what you're doing. She wants to know your thoughts. She puts effort into looking good for you, into planning things you'd enjoy, into showing you she understands you. And this creates a positive feedback loop. The more she invests, the more she values the connection. The more she values it, the more she invests. But here's the critical part. You can't fake this. You can't pretend to be busy or artificially make yourself scarce. Women are incredibly perceptive. They can sense when something's genuine versus when you're playing a game. Building real value in your life. This is why the foundation of this entire principle is actually about you, not about tactics to use on her. You need to genuinely become someone worth pursuing. And that means building a life you're proud of. What are you passionate about? What are you working toward? What makes you interesting beyond your desire for a relationship? When you have genuine answers to these questions, everything else falls into place naturally. I'm talking about having hobbies and interests that genuinely excite you, maintaining friendships and social connections that matter, working toward career or personal goals that challenge you, taking care of your physical and mental health, having opinions and perspectives that come from real thought and experience. When you have these things, you don't have to pretend to be busy. You are busy. You don't have to fake having standards. You do have standards because you know what you bring to the table. And when a woman enters your life, she's adding to something already good, not becoming your entire world. The attention economy. Here's another way to think about this. Your attention is currency. In today's world, everyone is competing for attention. Social media, entertainment, work, friends, family. Attention is the most valuable resource we have. And when you give someone unlimited, unrestricted access to your attention, you're devaluing it. But when your attention is selective, when someone has to be genuinely interesting, emotionally mature, and aligned with your values to receive your full presence, suddenly that attention becomes valuable. This doesn't mean being stingy or cold. It means being intentional. When you're with her, be fully present. Put your phone away. Listen deeply. Engage meaningfully. But when you're not with her, you're living your life, and she has to respect that. Women are attracted to men who have strong boundaries around their time and energy, not because they're playing games, but because it signals self-respect and purpose. Emotional availability versus constant availability. There's a huge difference here that most guys miss. Being emotionally available means that when you're together, you're open, honest, and willing to be vulnerable. You share your thoughts and feelings. You listen to hers. You create genuine connection. Being constantly available means you drop everything the moment she texts. You have no life outside of her, and you're always waiting for her next move. You want to be the first, not the second. When you're emotionally available but not constantly available, you create a dynamic where she feels deeply connected to you when you're together, but also has space to miss you and think about you when you're apart. That missing you part is crucial. That's where obsession actually develops, in the space between moments together. The challenge factor. Here's something most dating advice completely ignores. Women are attracted to challenge, not in a toxic, treat them badly way, but in a this person makes me want to be better way. When you have standards, when you have depth, when you're not impressed by surface level things, you become a challenge. Not an impossible challenge, but a worthy one. This means you don't agree with everything she says just to keep the peace. You have your own perspectives based on thought and experience. You notice and appreciate genuine qualities, not just physical appearance. You call out behavior that doesn't align with your values, respectfully. You expect effort and investment, not just from her, but from yourself too. When a woman realizes she can't just coast on looks or charm with you, when she realizes you actually see her and have expectations for emotional maturity and genuine connection, she steps up, and in stepping up, she becomes more invested. Creating memorable experiences. Here's a tactical element that works incredibly well with everything else I've mentioned. Create experiences that engage her emotionally and intellectually. Most dates are boring: dinner and a movie, coffee shop, drinks. There's nothing wrong with these, but they're forgettable. They don't create the kind of emotional imprint that keeps you on someone's mind. Instead, think about experiences that create a sense of adventure or novelty, spark genuine laughter and playfulness, allow for deep conversation and connection, show aspects of your personality and values, give her something to talk about with friends later. This could be anything from exploring a part of the city neither of you know, to cooking a meal together, to finding a weird, unique event happening locally, to teaching her something you're skilled at. The key is that these experiences should reveal who you are while also creating emotional memories. When she thinks back on her time with you, she should think, "That was fun. I learned something. I felt something." Not just, "That was fine." Communication that creates investment. The way you communicate matters enormously. Most guys either over-communicate, constant texting, always checking in, paragraph-long messages about nothing, or under-communicate, one-word responses, days between messages, zero effort. The sweet spot is this: be responsive but not desperate. Be engaging but not overwhelming. Be consistent but not predictable. What does this look like practically? When she texts you something meaningful, give a meaningful response. Don't leave her on read for hours to play games, but also don't respond within seconds every single time. Live your life, and when you see her message, respond thoughtfully. Ask questions that show you remember previous conversations. Share things about your day that are actually interesting. Send her something funny or relevant when you think of her, but don't feel the need to maintain constant contact. The goal is that your conversations feel effortless and natural, not forced or strategic. She should feel heard and valued, but also wonder what you're up to when you're not talking. The vulnerability component. Here's something that might surprise you. Showing appropriate vulnerability is incredibly attractive. I'm not talking about trauma dumping on the second date or constantly complaining about your problems. I'm talking about being real about who you are, what you care about, what challenges you, and what you're working on. When a woman sees that you're confident enough to be honest about your imperfections, that you're self-aware enough to work on yourself, that you don't need to pretend to be perfect, it creates trust. And trust is the foundation of any lasting connection. This means sharing your actual thoughts, not just what you think she wants to hear. It means admitting when you don't know something. It means talking about your genuine aspirations and fears, not just your highlight reel. But here's the balance. Vulnerability should be shared progressively as trust builds, and it should come from a place of self-awareness and growth, not victimhood or neediness. Consistency over intensity. One of the biggest mistakes men make is starting too intense and then fading out. They're all in at the beginning. Constant attention, big gestures, overwhelming interest. And then they either burn out or get comfortable and stop trying. What actually creates lasting attraction is the opposite. Start with genuine interest but measured investment, and then stay consistent. This means you're reliable and follow through on what you say. Your level of effort doesn't drastically change month to month. You continue dating her even after the relationship is established. You maintain your own life and interest throughout. You show up emotionally even when things get challenging. Women don't obsess over the guy who came in hot and faded. They obsess over the guy who showed up consistently, who proved through action that he meant what he said, who remained interesting and invested long term. Respect her, but respect yourself. More. This might sound harsh, but it's essential. You should respect yourself more than you respect anyone else. This doesn't mean being selfish. It means having boundaries, having standards, and being willing to walk away from a connection that doesn't meet those standards, even if you really like her. When a woman sees that you would rather be alone than be with someone who doesn't treat you well, who doesn't invest back, who doesn't align with your values, she understands your worth. And people want what they perceive as valuable. This is the ultimate frame. You're not trying to convince her to choose you. You're figuring out if she's someone worth choosing. When you come from that place authentically, everything changes. You stop being needy. You stop seeking validation. You start showing up as your full self and allowing her to decide if that's what she wants. And ironically, that's when she's most attracted. The long game. Everything I've shared today works together as a system. It's not about one text or one date or one moment. It's about consistently showing up as someone with value, purpose, and standards, while also being emotionally available and genuinely interested. This creates a dynamic where she's constantly discovering new things about you, where she's working to earn your full commitment, where she feels valued but not taken for granted, and where the relationship continues to grow rather than stagnate. The women who obsess over men for life in a healthy, loving way do so because those men never stop being interesting, never lose themselves in the relationship, and never take the connection for granted while also being deeply committed and emotionally present. So here's the truth. If you want her to obsess over you for life, you have to become obsession-worthy. Not by being perfect, but by being genuine, having purpose, maintaining standards, and showing up consistently as someone who values themselves and the relationship equally. Stop giving away all your attention, time, and energy hoping she'll appreciate it. Start building a life so compelling that she wants to be part of it. Start having standards that make her want to meet them. Start being present and vulnerable, while also maintaining your independence and growth. This isn't manipulation. This is mutual respect and genuine attraction. This is what separates relationships that fizzle out after 6 months from partnerships that last decades. Remember, she's not the prize. You're not the prize. The relationship you build together is the prize, and it only works if you both show up as full, interesting, valuable people. If you found this valuable, leave a comment telling me what resonated most. And if you want more content on building genuine attraction and healthy relationships, subscribe, because I'm breaking down real psychology that actually works, not pick-up artist garbage. Now go out there and become the kind of person someone would be lucky to obsess over. Thanks for watching.